Hello guys, I now know that my audio is working. It wasn't before, and I filmed a long video about this. But today I am going to be talking about your goals and how to stick by them. Okay, so goals can be anything, big or small. People always say that. When I say it's always expected that your goal that you want to accomplish has to be huge. If maybe in the future, if you want to set like a large goal for yourself, that's okay. And if my dog barks, I'm gonna be really annoyed. Sorry, but goals can be small too. No matter what it is, if it's like going outside, going for that walk, going for a run, doing more like art, a goal can be anything, and that's quite misunderstood. But like with a goal, you always have to ensure that you have patience. Patience is a quite key thing. I think, you need to kind of stick to something that you won't get bored and tired of. But you also should have, like, the ambition also needs to be there. I think it's quite key, to accomplishing that goal. If you don't have ambition, you can gain the ambition. Even just by doing anything, you can gain that. You can gain anything. You can gain kindness. You can gain anything, you know. You also have to, like, kind of have no fear to set the goal, depending on what it is, of course. I think in the grand scheme of things, you do really need to push yourself. Not too much. We'll touch on that in a minute. But, um, you know, I think kind of push yourself to do something that's unknown. Kind of learn new things as well. See, for example, because, my life, I've had fears and I've overcome them. And now I look back and I think, what was I so scared of? I think that's something that people don't look at enough. How much it scares them until they do it. You just have to do it. Accomplish that fear. Achieve something for yourself. And we're going to touch on that in a minute. Support as well. Try and get as much support, I think, as you can. With like family, friends, or someone you trust. Try and get them to help you. But at the end of the day, it is, your goal. And what I mean by that is people can give, how I look at it, okay? People can give the support, and it's like the support is resources. People can give the resources, you just have to build that structure for you. They can give you support, they can give you the resources, but you have to build the picture for yourself. However your picture wants to be, peace and beauty, or if you want to do a lot, like, it can be anything. Build your picture, build your structure. Always be ready for anything, and I think that's quite key. I feel like you got to anticipate what could be, going on, like what, like physically and mentally, what you have to be ready for. I'm not saying like fear. I'm saying just be ready for everything. Be ready to lose. Be ready to win. You just have to prepare yourself for whatever happens. I'm not trying to install fear in you. I'm just saying be ready for anything. Also be calm. You know, the more calmer you are, the more clearer you have a mind. The more clearer thoughts you have. But also ensure at the end of the day that you're doing that goal for yourself. Whether you're doing it because you want to impress someone, or you're changing your personality for someone. Don't, because if they liked you back, they wouldn't want to change anything about you. Okay, so do not change yourself for someone else, please. And I mean that. Someone who's been kind of through that, I would not recommend changing yourself, or you will lose yourself even more. Um, but also failure in that goal. You know, the the sad reality to failure is the feeling of failure. How do you get back up from the mistakes you've made? How do you assess it? Most people who do inspirational talks or motivational talks say that you have to get up from that failure, but they don't talk on how to get up from that failure. As someone who's been through failure of a goal myself, how I got back up from it was, I kind of thought in my head, why am I doing that goal? Why am I doing it? I'm doing it for myself. I want to feel the sense of achievement. I want to prove something of myself. And it's not even about proving to anyone else. It's proving to you that you can do that goal. There will be people who could possibly make fun of you for what you want to do, but you always got to go back to why you're doing it. You're doing it for you. Okay. I think as well, be careful. Like I said, you can push yourself, but don't push yourself too much. As someone who's been there, I tried to a few years ago, tried to get back into sports, physical activities, and everything. I exceeded my physical limit, and that hurt me both physically and mentally. I was injured. So please don't push yourself too much. Push yourself to an extent. Unfortunately, you do have limitations, and you can't always push yourself to another level in case you hurt yourself. But if you know you're not gonna hurt, actually, no, hang on, I need to reword that. Okay, so you are, I'm gonna cut this part out. At the end of the day, I think we all have limitations of ourselves. You can go to other level, but you just have to be careful when you do it. And another thing, these goals are your responsibility. It is yours. Like I said, the people can give the resources. You just have to build that picture. People are always going to be there to support you if you want to get them involved, and that's if, and look at the mistake. If you fail, look at the mistakes you've done. Just because you failed, don't mean you failed that goal properly. Get back up, stick to that goal. Have ambition. Ambition can just grow on you. The more stuff you do, the more ambitious you get. I've learned that. Someone who, a few years ago, when I was like 14, I didn't talk about my feelings. I didn't have any of this mindset. I didn't want to be someone who could just talk like this willingly. I just in the end, the more I did it, the more I felt safe doing it, and now I'm doing this. So, I'm there. But like I said, failure. And this can lead to the other part, abandonment of that goal. Now, abandonment of that goal, how I look at it is it's just one goal of many that you can create. You can create more. Fail those goals, but you can create more and you can accomplish those goals. Like I say, with goals, you need to start something small and build up that, sense of achievement and, mistakes and everything, and how you can analyze and learn from them and then try that goal again. Do the smallest things. And I'm telling you now, the more small things you do, as long as it grows and grows and grows and grows, and more challenging you can set the goal, you can achieve it, you can then start to think, okay, I want to set something big here. Okay. I think realism is something as well that is quite difficult for other people. You kind of have to be realistic on when to stop and if you can do that goal. And that also leads to abandonment. You may hyperfixate on what you could have done better. I think people overthink when they fail a goal. They mope. I don't know if you know that word definition. I got really upset, and that's fine. Being upset, I'm not saying it's wrong. You can be upset that you didn't do that goal. It is fine. You have every right to be upset. But I think for your own personal mental health, as well as proving something for yourself, you kind of have to let it go. And that's hard. And the more you think, I know you're thinking, how do I let go of that? You don't, sometimes you don't let go. It becomes a part of you. Sorry, someone's calling me. It becomes a part of you. Okay. Am I? Okay, I'm recording. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna put this part. Like I said, it becomes a part of you, you know, and you develop as a person from learning that mistake, you know. And another way. Sorry for keeping cutting out parts of the video. There's many things going on around me right now, and it's interrupting me recording. So, like I was saying, another like thing that's also like you've not fully failed is you achieve something. You know, you've looked at the goal, and yes, you've abandoned it, but that's also good because you looked at it for yourself. You know, yes, like I said, you abandoned it, but you still achieved something. You've looked at yourself and thought, okay, I can't do that. You know, I have to step away. You made that decision, and you should be proud in a way. Okay, but make other goals. It's never the end. You can create many other goals and accomplish, succeed, or fail within them. Just learn from what you've, done. And I think this last part, I'm going a bit like of kind of like this because I'm reading off my own thing. So I make a Word document and I type and I read off it. I can tell you 1,000% it is coming from me. I will post something where it's just this video today, but this is all coming from me, by the way. I'm not reading of anyone else. I think if you're a person who struggles with goals and you don't know what to do, I would suggest trying finding the support you can find anywhere, whether that's, in person or you go on YouTube, you search up how to succeed in the goal, what to do in the goal. You find all the support you can, whether that's within another person or within yourself. Please do that. It helps a lot. So, I am going to end the video. Okay, so like and subscribe, please. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for all the support. If you go in my post, someone in my comments, I think his name's Ramesh, I think, commented I did to make this video. So huge thanks to him. Huge thanks to like people who comment, people who like, or people who watch this video. Give me the time to feel happy in what I do. So thank you. Like I always say, drink well, eat well, and sleep well in a Butos people.